Hi, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. For today's cards, I'm going to be making, using Hero Arts products and mixed with Nuvo, tonic Nuvo products. Starting off, I'm using my pointy tool from Cricut. I'm using clear embossing powder from Wow, Bristol Smooth Cardstock, my powder tool, and this is the new Meteorite Shower shimmer powders. It is spectacular. And in the other cards, I'm also using, the other colors shown here. I'm going to have them all listed below if you're interested in checking them out. The Meteorite Shower is the newest one, and wow, it's perfect for Christmas cards. I mean, or galaxy scenes or night scenes. It's just gorgeous. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to start off here. That panel you see there is not an A2 card. A2 size. It's larger than that. So what I like to do about that is it gives me area to trim off if I don't like a certain spot or an edge. I can trim it down, and it allows me room for error. And God knows, if you know me at all, I am a boo-boo crafter. I make lots of mistakes and errors. So yeah, moving on. Okay, so I'm getting my double-sided tape. It's temporary, and sticking it on my panel. The Hero Arts stamp, it is called hand-drawn snowflakes, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love this stamp. I'm a big fan of red rubber stamps. I love them because they don't stain or cross-contaminate ink, and they just make beautiful images. So I'm a huge fan of the red rubber stamps, or cling stamps, whatever you want to call them. Now, since I'm doing a full panel and I'm doing an Emboss Resist technique, I'm going to use extra powder because it seems like I never use enough and I always get powder where I don't want it. So I took off my top because sometimes it gets clogged. Powder builds up in that little area and not much powder comes out. So if you have this tool and have that problem, check it out. Just open it up and you'll see there might be a clog of powder in that area. Maybe it was a little moist or whatever and it just clogs up. Anyway, so I added a lot of powder, repowdered it again and again, and lining up my paper. And since I touched it again, I'm paranoid. I just added more. Okay. Yes, I forgot to mention we'll be using Versamark as our embossing ink. I just re-inked it. I know it looks nasty and dirty, but I just get the re-inker and I just re-ink it when I need it. It works great. So I'm just doing my first impression. I always do it twice. And yeah, I love the red rubber stamps. I can't stress that enough because they don't cross-contaminate. They clean up easily. They are just fantastic. And they give such great detail in the images. So I'm using my Wow clear embossing powder. As you can see, I have a ton. And I'm doing it, everywhere except that edge because that's where my extra cardstock is that didn't get any on it. So yeah, I'm just heating it up till it's all smooth and melted. And I have to turn it into the light to make sure, because even though I see it melt, if you turn it to light, it may still not be shiny. So you gotta always check. Now, I'm gonna spray my panel. This again is Bristol. It's not meant to withstand a lot of water. You can use regular water cardstock. Oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Water color cardstock. Yeah, for this. Some people tape it down. I don't tape it because I wanted the edges. I didn't know what edges I was going to trim off. Since this is a bigger panel, I always tend to go big, and then this way I could trim off the edge, whatever edges I don't like. So now instead of absorbing all that powder that has pulled up, I use my heat tool to dry it. There are some that blows off the edge of the cardstock. That's fine. And some that just, is a little more difficult to dry because there's so much water had pulled up in a certain area. I may absorb that up as well. But for the most part, I try to keep it all on the cardstock to keep I want the dark color. I typically go, what I do is I wet it, add some shimmer, and then spray again, and then add a little bit more. But I dried it in between, and that's not usually how I do it. I usually dry it as a last at the end. So here I realized this is kind of muted. I wanted to make it darker in some areas, so I added a little bit more shimmer powder and just sprayed it again, just to get that going. And yeah, gotta have your paper towel handy, and just sprayed it to darken up the muted snowflakes that, had washed away in color. So once I dried that, I added a little bit more to certain areas that I wanted some darker colors. What's so beautiful about this shimmer powder is that it's got purple in it, and it's got blue, dark, it's like navy and black. It's just, there's so many different colors. It's just so pretty. This is like my new favorite shimmer powder. It is absolutely stunning. And it's so great for Galaxy Nights cards. It's great for Christmas cards. I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, look at it. Okay. So, yeah, here we go. I'm trimming off the edges that I didn't like. And, my cardstock got pretty warped because again, it was, it's Bristol. It's not watercolor cardstock. So I trimmed it down. Oh, yeah, and I'm using an alcohol wipe to clean up because my panel wasn't completely dry. And I've learned from mistakes to do this because otherwise I wind up getting other colors onto other, cardstock in future projects, and it's very frustrating. Now check it out. This is Martha Stewart cardstock. It's called Wild Berry, and it's pretty heavy duty. I mean, it's not 110. I would say it's maybe 100-pound cardstock, and it was 25 sheets for $1.99. I mean, seriously, 25 sheets for $1.99. It's from cardstock.com. I highly recommend that site. They have great products. Anyway, I'll have that link below. Now, I should have done this earlier, but I forgot to do my inside, and I'm just going to use Simon Says Stamp Fog cardstock, Fog ink, excuse me, Fog ink and be careful not to go above that seam line there. And again, the inside doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be stamping a greeting and writing in it, so it kind of, drowns out if there's any mistakes. But actually, the first stamp came out great. I didn't overstamp that beyond that line, and it came out good. But what I should have done at this point was stamp my greeting, but I forgot. So I'm going to use the same different greeting from the same stamp set from Hero Arts. Now for the outside greeting, I grabbed a piece of watercolor cardstock, that scrap that I had laying around, made sure it was on the smooth side. I was about to use VersaFine, and I'm like, oh wait, no. Use my regular dye ink. I stamp my image, and I'll show you why in a minute. I stamp my image, and then, give it a couple seconds to dry. Grab my Versamark, stamp on top of it. I'll show you. I stamp on top of my dye image, my dye sentiment, and then I use Versamark on top because I'm going to use Sparkle embossing powder. Now this is from Recollections, which is a Michaels brand. However, I really, really, really like it. It adds like a iridescent sparkle to the black. So it just makes it more sparkly and fun. It's a little hard to see on camera, and I apologize for that. But in person, it's like almost like a rainbow iridescent sparkle. It's really beautiful. And I couldn't pick it up in the lighting, and I apologize for that. Lighting in this room is not the greatest. Yeah, and of course I spilt embossing powder. If it was a little bit, I would have brushed it off, but this stuff, it's called Sparkle. That's the name of it, and it's from Michaels. So if you ever at Michaels, you see it, I definitely recommend picking it up. It's a wonderful sparkle powder. Okay, so now I got to trim it down. Usually I screw this up and cut crooked or whatever. Amazingly enough, I'm filming, and I actually got it straight. And I didn't have to fuss around with it too much. It was incredible. So I grabbed the same scrap of cardstock, and I wanted to grab a Copic color that would match because I wanted to put a little edging around it. That one was a little too dark. It was B99. So I went on to, I think it's B37. And that kind of matched. You'll see the cap in a moment. Oh, sorry. It was a little fast forward. Anyway, it's B37. And I just went around the edge. And this way, you know, it kind of looks a little nicer. And I decided I wanted to add some foam tape to the back just to add a little dimension. And that's what I did. I used 3M Scotch foam tape, added that on. I used my non-stick scissors you see there, the tier ones. Those are great for cutting foam tape. And I had made another card before this video, and I had put the sentiment on the bottom. And my daughter, and I made the other colors with this, the red and the purple, and I put the sentiment. You'll see those cards shortly. And I put it in the middle, and my daughter said, I really like the blue one, but I don't like the sentiment on the bottom. So that's what prompted me to make this one with the sentiment in the middle. I added some Nuvo crystal, you know, the glitter drops, and also some blue stone drops. I'll have those linked below. These stone drops, I absolutely love them. You know, if you tap it and get them nice and round, they just dry with such cool texture. It's, oh, look at that, I smeared it on my hand. I was so happy it wasn't on the card and it wasn't on my hand. It was on my hand. That's okay. So yeah, I'm going to take a stamp from there and stamp it on the inside once the Nuvo drops have dried, because I should have done that before. Okay, now see, here's the other shimmer powders I used and the other cards I wanted to show you. I added regular Nuvo drops and stone drops to the purple, and the red, I didn't have red stone, so I used regular Nuvo drops and crystal and glitter drops for this one. So thank you so much for stopping by. I truly, truly appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. If you don't mind liking and subscribing, that would be great. Thank you again for stopping by.